Hello, my channel mammals. It's so good to see you right here in our own cabin on Yankee. And I have something very special to share with you today. I will tell you that it's always difficult for me to know whether this is a right idea or not, because it's about a gift that somebody sent to us. But I'm never sure whether it's kind to the person to show a gift, that maybe it's very personal and private and that they wouldn't want to be brought out, or that it would be unkind to all the channel mammals to think that they maybe have to send a gift or something. I don't know. It's a difficult thing to know how to handle, but I do love sharing these wonderful things that come here. So this time I'm taking a chance. And the reason I think that it's okay this time is because this person has her own site on Instagram called Poppin' Moon. Isn't that wonderful? It just makes you want to dance in the moonlight. And her name is Trisha Lancia. And so I figure she probably wouldn't mind people knowing about her, and has already decided not to be private. Well, I have a long history with Trisha Lancia. She came to Yankee to MacKenzie-Childs, our company, many years ago as a seamstress. And it took a while to get to know Trisha, but it was a journey I loved. She was very, is the word dour at first? Something like that. She was very quiet, but not shy, and very direct, but not severe. She had these wonderful soft elements mixed with this very proper business relationship. And I remember finding sport in making her giggle. It was always the most fun thing when I saw her start to giggle. Some things would just tickle her, and I'll never forget those moments. It was so important to me. So anyway, then I'll show you something that will give you a little hint into how I've got to know. And I haven't really been around Trisha since MacKenzie-Childs went away. I have something else to tell you. There's something very insightful of Trisha that I never realized, but I saw it so clearly. When we started Patreon, I started to realize that I was almost praying that somebody, when it first started, only a few people knew about it, and they gave generous monthly amounts to me. I almost felt, oh gosh, how can I ever live up to this? I felt it was just too wonderful. And then I thought maybe it would make people feel bashful about giving a small amount, even though they would like to contribute to Yankee Ferry and to this program that we have and so forth. And I just didn't know how to get that idea expressed, because I didn't want those who were giving larger amounts to be discouraged, because I knew that to them maybe it didn't mean, it wasn't wearing hard on them. That was the main thing, is I didn't want anybody to be harmed by giving something great and to help us. But anyway, all of a sudden Trisha joined Patreon with a small amount. And I thought, oh, thank you, Trisha. I was so grateful, because I wanted it that everybody would know that they could give a small amount, and that I would actually feel better, because I wouldn't feel so responsible, and I would feel the abundance of everybody, but the freedom of everybody, because it would be so small to them that it would just feel like ongoing support and love in a sort of spirit almost, rather than in amount. So I was really grateful for that, and I still am. I think about it often. Well, anyway, I want to show you something from the past. When we had MacKenzie-Childs, among millions of projects, we had this idea that I always wanted to use up fabrics. And there were always pieces and parts of fabrics. You can see some back here. See, there's several. I think it's kind of got a few moths living in here too. But different fabrics, maybe the bottom will show you too. Yeah, see, every single thing is made out of leftover fabrics and parts of socks and these little gloves that we had. Look at these little hands. And so we started to make these. And a little wooden doll head, kind of reminiscent of, I believe it was the Shakers or one of the early American religions that didn't feel it was good to show a face. They felt it was too, just wasn't proper. So we had this little dowel, this little finial as a head and a little ruff around its neck. So Tricia made this into, and it's filled with, I believe, at first it was sawdust, which was also residue from our work in the wood shop. And now it might have come to being sand, but I think it was some other refuse of some kind. And so they were a pincushion, as you can see, as I use it. And she's gotten old and, and a little dirty. And then I think it was Christmas time when Tricia gave me a present. And we didn't give a lot of presents because, again, we didn't want people to feel obligated in any way. But we wanted to give presents, but we didn't want people to feel they had to reciprocate. But Tricia did. And she made this one at home. And it's the first time, she may have been doing this for a long time, I have no idea. She's a very private person. But she made these little forms. And you see, it's a little face. And I think it's a very early face. I'm not sure. Maybe it was her first one. I have no idea. But see, she used the ends of my gloves for the feet, the fingers of the gloves, for the feet and the fingers. And an old shawl from Scotland as the little, but it was a rotten shawl. So she just used the parts that were good to use. And a little velvet hat, and it did have a little ball up here. Anyway, it's got so many, it's laden with brooches, so it's hard to even see it. But I see it every day. And whoops, and what's amazing for me, about gifts is I think about the person every day. Well, now, I couldn't believe this. I don't even know why Tricia did this. It was so big and so wonderful. I just wanted to melt. And unwrapping it, it went on and on and on because it was so beautifully wrapped in a brand new box, not a used up box like we use. She just had this perfect box, perfect fit. And here it is. You may have seen him peeking out from behind whilst I was talking. Isn't he beautiful? And I have a little story to tell you that this little animal reminds me of. This is a little dachshund, and it's practically the same exact size as our second wire-haired dachshund, which we got after MacKenzie-Childs. So Tricia maybe never even saw that little dachshund. She may not even know that we had that wire-haired dachshund, but for some reason, she sent this beautiful figure of a dachshund. But this is what I want to show you. Look at the craftsmanship. Look at the beautiful stitching and pressing and how important and the weight of the fabrics. The fabrics are this perfect weight for the exact, object that they hang on. A lot of times people will make dollhouses. I kind of get a kick out of them, where the skirt of the bed, for instance, the dust ruffle sticks straight out, or the curtains stick out from the walls because the fabrics maybe they are curtain fabrics, but for a dollhouse scaled down, they have to be a very different kind of weight in order to hang properly to look real. But obviously, Tricia knew just what to do with this little animal. And I think he's all stitched together. But look at his tie. It's the proper weight of silk. And the buttons and well, it's called a cardigan guard, but it's a cloak guard in this case. And the vest, would you look at this fabric? It's the most beautiful. And the pleats, look at the pleats. And the buttons, the tiny buttons, exactly the right, and look at these. I think she made these with a little bead in the middle to show a special design of a button for this little dog. And the collar, I mean, it's perfectly starched. And the hat, look at the plume on the side of the hat. And this hat can come off, it's Velcroed onto his forehead. So I've named him Mr. Pinky Brown. and I'll show you what Pinky looks like as a puppy. Here she is. If you can get up close without glare, you can see her. Isn't that a beautiful painting of her? Let's see, I could tip it a little. Perhaps you can tell me if you can see it okay, you channel mammals. I so want you to, or I tip it up. That might be better. Well, she has so much the same attitude, of a very genteel attitude. But look, this is another thing. I thought, as I unwrapped this beautiful treasure, I thought, oh my goodness, what, where will I put it? And I just walked right in to my bedroom, turned around, and here was this beautiful German tin with nothing on top of it. And it's the perfect grandstand for him, isn't it? I mean, you couldn't think of a better situation. Sitting right below Heather, and right here next to Richard's shoes, and an old drawing of Heather's made of cardboard that she did when she was little. So it's just in this beautiful atmosphere of just everything coming together. And I want to tell you a story about Pinky specifically, if we have time. And Zeno, he's sitting right next to you. You channel mammals. Can you see him? You can see him. He's excited to say hi. There he is. Ah. So he remembers Pinky, and he'll remember all these stories. Well, right after MacKenzie-Childs, we found that we had no money, because we always put all of our money right back into MacKenzie-Childs. We didn't really have savings, or we never kept our lives separate from our work. We didn't ever think of it as separate. It's funny, we didn't have that concept at all. It wasn't very sophisticated of us, but it was just our natural way. We couldn't stop, and it was never going to stop. So it just kept flowing back in. And soon after, I remember one day realizing I was out of toothpaste, and I thought, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Where will we get toothpaste? We don't have any money. I mean, none. and then I decided, I can make some money. I'm going to take my clothes and put them in this suitcase. And I put them in this big aluminum suitcase that I had, packed them all neatly in there, and I went to these shops. They're called consignment shops in New York. And I brought the suitcase there, and they said, oh, there aren't any tags on these to show the designer. And I said, oh, well, they're made, I'm the designer of the clothes. And they said, oh, yes, but, the people want to buy with a label. And so I said, oh, okay. Well, then I thought, well, I'll go upstate, and I'll find a shop there that doesn't mind about things like that. So I went to this little shop in Ithaca, New York, called Katie's or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's gone now. But I thought, oh, they would love these. So I walked in and they opened up the trunk and they said, oh, people don't wear collared blouses anymore. They're out of style. And I thought, oh, well, every time I walk down the street, people say, oh, I love your style. And I have collars on. I think I have a collar on now. Yes, I'm wearing a collar now. But the person told me that I was out of style. So I took them back. And I tried one more place when I went back to New York and also got rejected. So I was walking home in the rain. It turned into a rainy day to our apartment, which was just a little room, a tiny room. And I just thought, oh, almost became sad, but I didn't want to become sad. So I sat down and I thought, well, God will give me an idea somehow. Well, just as I sat there, but still on the verge of tears, I was really getting sad. And it was silly, you know, when you think of it. Our supply comes abundantly. I was perfectly fine. I wasn't even hungry at that moment. So I just was sitting there praying, really, and listening. And I noticed that Mr. Brown, we had just got Pinky. We got Pinky after MacKenzie-Childs. And I noticed that Mr. Brown would take every toy away from Pinky. Every time she went to grab a toy to play from the basket, Mr. Brown would snap it out of her mouth or catch it and take it away and keep it in his own pile. And I thought, oh, and then Pinky would find another toy. And pretty soon I thought, I should discipline Mr. Brown. He needs to share. And just before I was able to discipline him, what do you think happened? Pinky had no toys left, but she leapt up into the air and started grabbing at something in the air, something that she saw in the air, and she started throwing it around in the room and rolling over and picking it up and scratching under this and that. And I thought, she's imagining the play. Nobody could take her imagination away. Nobody could take her joy. They could take her things, but they couldn't take her joy. And so I just thought, thank you, God. This was the message I needed. And the fact that I held back and didn't discipline Mr. Brown was the fact that Pinky was able to have this demonstration for me. And I just thought, the things can go away, but the play can't go away. So I went down on my knees and started opening up my suitcase, and I started pulling out all of my clothes, and I started cutting them up and making beautiful cushions out of them. I have several of them here. I'll go grab one. I just thought of this. I wasn't gonna, just a second. I wasn't gonna tell this story. Just a second. Okay. I'm glad you're not gone. I thought you'd just walk off and leave me by now, but wait, don't look at these yet. Keep your eyes closed. I'm gonna go get a couple more. Okay, now let's see. Well, you've heard the saying, the cobbler's daughter has no shoes, right? Well, it's like that with us. We don't have our best things. We always would sell what was the best. And then also what got left over here on Yankee often got a little touch of weather. So they're in a little bit of a shamble. But it's just to show you, to share with you. And so here's what I did. I started cutting everything up. See, that's the bottom of some trousers, a sock, some piece of fringe, a bottom of a cardigan, a suspender, a blouse. And then I zipped them up in the back with some old horrible, curtain fabric or whatever. But there's something about them that Let me get another one from that moment. Oh, here's one of my favorite ones, actually, which for some reason didn't sell. Wait, let me find it. Here. But it's in bad shape. It's almost... Look. This was beautiful linen. Look at this beautiful linen. But it's on the bottom edges. It's frayed away. It's so old. Isn't it funny to think something from your own generation is so old? like ancient times. But look, here is one of our socks, our MacKenzie-Childs socks. You see? And another sock. And a jacket of mine with a glove, a driving glove, ready to put into my pocket. I wonder if there's anything. No, there's nothing in the pocket. And another sock and a part of the end of a mitten, of a fingerless mitten that had a cap over the end, a belt from a raincoat, and a blouse. But, and look, I used these old suspender, no, what would you call these? Overall, yeah, a clip from an overall as the clasp, closing up the down pillow inside. And so I made all of these. Well, here's one. I mean, these are really old. And see some of my gloves and jackets. And these were jackets, you know, that were out of style by that time. So I thought, well, you know, I can, and petticoats, look at, aren't they so sweet? This is a silk slip. And this is all faded by the light. But look at that. Isn't it pretty? I still think they're beautiful, even though they're worn to a frazzle. This one got rained on several times. Look at the white. This was a white long glove that went up to here. But it is now, it looks like a mummy. And this one the moths have enjoyed because it was a woolen glove. I can't believe I'm showing this to the world. But anyway, and some old fabrics from our work. And so anyway, those were that then. And you know what happened? People wanted to buy the pillows. And the pillows paid far more than if I gave my clothes away all whole in one piece. They were, well, of course, a lot of work, but also they were highly appreciated. Isn't that amazing? When you have nothing left, you find out that there is no such thing as nothing. There is abundance everywhere, and it's all in spirit. It's not in matter. The matter is just not of importance. It's just a means to express spiritual abundance, really, that's all. And then when it goes away, it doesn't matter. Matter doesn't matter. And so that was another lesson I learned. Look at this. This was a yo-yo quilt. It's so beautiful, but most of it was destroyed. So here's one fabric, another fabric, and this was one of my favorite fabrics, is silk. But it wasn't all brown like this. It was creamy, elegant, and translucent, and it wasn't wrinkled. But it's been in many rains. Oh, and I started to put on, you know, what I had left over. I don't know why I had them, but some of our early labels for the ones that we actually had. But they were just, I don't know how we got those things. But, and then, what's this one? Oh, here's another one made out of just pieces and parts of, you know, lace that weren't even very important. A piece of faux fur that back in a certain period people were wearing everything like faux leopards or whatever. And look at this fabric. Isn't this amazing? And this is old curtains. Just some old curtains. You can tell just by looking at it. And then some tapestry and a little piece of ribbon. And on the back, look at these old little glass buttons and just what we need, just what we needed. And then here, ooh, some of these are really getting old. Look at this. Oh my gosh. It's so much fun to look at them after all this time. All this, but little bits, just bits. And we had a lot of, pieces and parts of fabrics. So it was really a great way to engage with them. Here's another one with another little piece of the yo-yo quilt that survived. And a hanky and a cuff, or a beautiful part of a collar, collars, and some plastic. And some of that fur, that. And then there's an elephant on the back, and he's lost all of his buttons, but he can have them back again. We have more. Let's see what else. And here's another, here's like a pair to him. Not really, but it is. It's like a pair. Yeah, they look well together. But look at, these are all ruined now. These little, I forget what you call these, with one button. There's a name. But aren't they just, I don't know. You can see through the dust and the age. You can see the joy and the spirit of them. He has 2 buttons of his buttons left. But isn't it funny how, and then let's see, what else can I show you? I'll show you. Here, there's another one with the buttons across the top. Do I have any more? Oh, I think there's one. Oh, this is one of my favorites. No, my favorite is still upstairs. Oh, shucks. I should have brought it down. Oh, well, this is still pretty. Look at this. Oh my gosh, it's been through the war, but it still means something. Anyway. Oh, wait, here it is. This is my favorite one. Oh, it's so old and dusty. Look at, I trapped a safety pin inside on a butterfly. And this is an old tablecloth inside here. You can kind of see one of those printed tablecloths. And then more of the yo-yos, bigger ones. And look at this beautiful fabric. But I love the plastic. I put plastic on this because I knew it would just fall apart in no time. And now this is held together better than anything. It's more preserved than anything. And this is the back. Well, anyway, here we are. Oh, there's one more. We started getting more. These are called, what did I call these? Not accordion, but concertinas. Concertina cushions. And these are just small bits of fabric left over. And you can turn them whichever way you want. You can make them as long as you like for a bolster. And these are even leftover yarn on the ends. But they've been through so much. But I don't know, I just felt like sharing that with you because having the Esquire Pinky Brown sitting right here, the grandest man in town, he knows how grand all these things are. He appreciates it all. And I can tell his master, Tricia Lancia, she understands. She really does. And I'm just so happy that she gave me this opportunity to share her beautiful workmanship. And I don't know, it just drew me into this story about Pinky and Mr. Brown. Isn't that fun? And you know what? It's my gift to you. Because some of you, even today, might be struggling, feeling they don't have enough. You know, all of our problems come from a belief in lack. All of our problems. Oh, we don't have enough love. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough food. We don't have enough gas. We don't have enough intelligence. Well, that's all nonsense. We have more than we accept. It's just amazing. Okay, my friends, I'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for enjoying Tricia's Esquire together with me. So long.